Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is gisleniq if this is your first time here. So as you guys can see from the title of today's video is going to be a meal prep with me day. Honestly, I have really fell off and slacked off on my diet and just like eating healthy, counting my macros, and just making sure that whatever I'm putting in my body is good and nutritious. So I've tried meal prepping before, but I do get tired of eating the same thing every day. So I'm going to be trying a new technique of meal prepping that I feel like will be helpful and beneficial for my lifestyle. So I already have a list of meals that I plan on making for this week. What I plan on doing is basically prepping everything that I need for those meals, and that way I have everything already cooked, and so when it comes down to eating it, I can just take everything out of my fridge and just reheat it because everything's already cooked. So I'm gonna bring you guys along with me to a meal prep. It is currently Monday, so I'm trying to set myself up for the week because my gym week starts on Tuesdays. So if you guys want to see what things I meal prepped for this week, then go ahead and keep watching. All right, so I have pretty much all of the stuff that I'm gonna need to prep out on the counters. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys and then kind of let you know what I plan on making with them. So I have some Japanese sweet potatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven, as well as these sweet potatoes as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these, cut them up, season them, and put them in the oven. And then I also have some Brussels sprouts and some zucchini. We'll also just season these and put them in the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my sweet potatoes because I know this is probably gonna take the longest. And then I have some ground beef here. I'm gonna go ahead and cook that because I want to make some ground beef burritos, and then I'm gonna also make some rice. And then I have some organic ground chicken here. I'm gonna make this for some buffalo chicken tacos. And then I also have some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I'm gonna prep this so that I can have chicken to do with like a sheet pan dish with like some sweet potatoes, some Brussels sprouts, and some zucchini. And then here I actually have some dough that I just made for some flour tortillas. Like I mentioned, I plan on making some burritos, so I went to the store to get the Mission flour tortillas, and then I scanned them on my Juka app, and they got such a terrible rating. Like, they're super high in sodium, they have a bunch of ingredients. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make my flour tortillas myself. So that's exactly what I'm doing. That's pretty much everything. I'm gonna make some rice as well for the burrito, and then also just to have in case like I need a little bit more carbs throughout the week, I have some rice. So I'm gonna make some cilantro lime rice because I feel like that would go really well with the burrito. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven and then start cutting up my sweet potatoes, and then we'll pop those in the oven. Once those are done, then we'll cook our Brussels sprouts and our zucchini. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with peeling and cutting my sweet potatoes. So I have a bowl right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw them in here and then season them. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. Alright, gonna go ahead and rinse these now, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut these into cubes. Just gonna go ahead and cut off these little corner pieces. I can put the ball in the end zone, put a bad bitch in the friend zone. This shit sound like an intro jet song, give me that tempo. Told Pooh he a fool with the shit. Told her don't let her friends know. In the bill and I move like a dime. Eating fettuccine at Vincenzo's. Me and my amigos got that free smoke on the West Coast. Yeah, I'm talking about pre-rolls. So I'm all done cutting my sweet potatoes. So to season, I'm gonna go ahead and season it with some black pepper, some salt, and some garlic powder. And then I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with some avocado oil. Goddamn, spending money at the club like Sam. Yes, ma'am. She a little freak on cam. She don't put this on the ground. Little boys try this on the ground. Hey, I can't switch on the fam. Shit's hot, hit the switch. I'm all done seasoning this up. I feel resentment from every direction. Even some homies be wearing expressions. I be discouraged from sharing my blessings. So I have them all here. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cut my Japanese sweet potatoes and do the same exact thing and then put them on this side. So I just finished cutting up my Japanese sweet potato. This was actually way harder than I thought. I didn't realize how hard it is to cut Japanese sweet potato because usually when I make it, I oil it, so I've never like cut it up like this. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put some oil on this one just because the Japanese sweet potato is a little sweet, so I kind of want it to have a little bit more oil than the avocado spray. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of avocado oil. And then I'm gonna also season this. Honestly, I just think I'm gonna add some salt. I don't think I'm gonna add any pepper. I don't think I necessarily would love the taste of pepper on the Japanese sweet potatoes. So, and then I put it in the same bowl, so whatever is still on the bowl is gonna obviously get on it, but that's okay. So I'm all done seasoning that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring my sheet pan back. Here we have it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the Japanese sweet potato on the other side of the sheet pan. The reason I'm not mixing them is because obviously when I eat them, because I'm gonna be counting my macros, I wanna be able to differentiate the sweet potato from the Japanese sweet potato. So that's the only reason why I'm cooking them on two separate sides. But obviously they're probably gonna cook around the same amount of time. So that's why I'm just gonna cook them at the same time on the same sheet pan. So let's go ahead and put them on the sheet pan. Sheet pan, so hopefully this won't take too long to cook. I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees and I'm gonna go ahead and start it off at like 30 minutes. Check it at 30 minutes. I'm thinking it's probably gonna take around 40 to 45 minutes, so we'll see. All right, so just pop them in. Gonna go ahead and set a timer for 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and do that. 30 minutes, 30 seconds, and then we'll check back in at that point. All right, my loves, so while the sweet potatoes cook in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and start making one of the proteins that I am going to be prepping for this week, and that is going to be the ground chicken. When it comes to making my ground chicken, I like to prepare it like I prepare my ground turkey. So I like to add a lot of stuff to it because I find that ground chicken doesn't really have much of a flavor. So I like to add things to make it taste really good. So I already prepped everything. So I am going to be adding some celery, one whole jalapeno, and then one whole medium yellow onion. And this is about 2 stalks of celery. And then I have a bunch of fresh garlic that I'm gonna go ahead and crush into it. And then I season it with salt, black pepper, red chili flakes, oregano, and yeah, that's about it. So this ground chicken has been in my oven for a little while, so I hope it doesn't have freezer burn, but we shall see. So I'm gonna go ahead, I have my pan preheating. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some avocado oil to my pan. And then I have this bigger pan over here for when I make my ground beef, because I have a little bit more ground beef than ground ground chicken. I'm just gonna let the pan get really hot, so once I add my ground chicken, it could get a sear on one side. So it's been about 2 to 3 minutes since my pan has been heating up, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my ground chicken. See if we hear that sear. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start crushing my garlic into this. I've already minced it pretty much as I like. Alright, so I did about 5 to 6 cloves of garlic. Going to add some crushed red pepper. Going to add some salt. And mix that up. So now that I'm done seasoning it, I'm gonna go ahead and add all of my veggies. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that in. So as you guys just saw, I just went ahead and covered my ground chicken so that those vegetables can go ahead and cook and the ground chicken can finish cooking. And while that finishes cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and check on my potatoes because the 30 minutes is up. So let's go ahead and check those, and then we're gonna prep all the ingredients we need for our ground beef. So this is what my potatoes look like about 40 minutes in. So I'm gonna go ahead and just move them around so each side is getting cooked. I don't think they need much longer, to be honest. All right, so I just moved the potatoes around. I just tasted one of the Japanese sweet potatoes and it tastes delicious. Let me try one of the sweet potatoes. Very good as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and let these cook for another like 15 minutes, just so some of them can like crisp up a little bit more, especially because since I plan on reheating these, I want them to already be crispy, because I feel like whenever I reheat them, they're probably gonna get soggy. So want them to start off already crispy. So I'm gonna go ahead, pop these in for another 15 minutes, and then these should be all done. So now time to prep what I need for my ground beef. So for my ground beef, all I use is a whole red onion and one whole jalapeno and then some fresh garlic. So let me go ahead and cut this and then we'll start making our ground beef. So I just finished prepping everything I need for my ground beef. So I have one whole jalapeno, half of a red onion, and then I have some garlic cloves right here. This is what my ground chicken is looking like so far. So I'm just waiting for all the liquid to evaporate, and then that should be good and that should be done. Now I have this pan preheating about medium heat. I'm gonna be doing the same exact thing, letting this pot heat up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw my ground beef. This is ground beef sirloin. I like to get this one from my local supermarket because I find that this is the only ground beef that is not super oily. Like, I do not even have to drain any oil from this ground beef because it's not oily at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this heat up and then let it get that nice sear. Then we'll go ahead and basically repeat the same process. I will say what I use on my ground beef is different seasoning wise. So for seasonings, I use cumin, some chili powder, black pepper, salt, oregano, and red chili flakes if I feel like it needs it, as well as the garlic. So really the cumin and the chili powder are the things that I add to my ground beef that I don't add to like my ground turkey or my ground chicken. But honestly, other than that, it's pretty much the same exact recipe. Once my potatoes are done, I'm gonna go ahead and prep my veggies and then put them on the pan as well to cook. So like I mentioned, I have some baby zucchini and some Brussels sprouts. Those were my vegetables of choice for the week. So here I just have just over 1 pound of beef. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start to season this. We're gonna go ahead and start off with some black pepper. I'm going to go ahead and add some cumin. As well as some chili powder. I'm going to add my Dominican oregano, and then some salt. Now that my ground beef is pretty much all cooked for the most part, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my garlic, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions and jalapeno. So I just tasted my ground beef and it's still missing a little something. So what I like to do is add a little bit of soy, not too much, but just enough to add like a little bit of flavor. So literally I would say like maybe less than a tablespoon worth of soy sauce. My ground chicken should be done in the next like 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so while my ground meat finishes cooking, my potatoes are actually all done. I just took them out of the oven. So this is what they look like. I actually tasted both and they taste really good. So these are all done. I'm gonna go ahead and let them finish cooling off before I put them in their separate containers. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping my Brussels sprouts and my zucchini. All right, so we're gonna start off with my baby zucchinis. I already went ahead and washed them. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this part of it. So each of them have it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then, because these are already pretty small, I think what I'm gonna do is just cut them in half. And then once they're in half, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them like that. So this is what they look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that to all my zucchini. Have a bowl right here, then we'll season them. So now to season my zucchini, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm just gonna go ahead and season it with some salt. With some black pepper. As well as some garlic powder. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of red pepper flake. All right, so this is all done. So before I prep my Brussels sprouts, I'm gonna go ahead and put my sweet potatoes away so that I can put everything back on this baking dish. All right, there we have the Japanese sweet potato. Time to prep my Brussels sprouts. All right, so I went ahead and took off the outer layers of the Brussels sprouts. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with cutting these off and then cutting them in half or in fourths if needed, because some of these are pretty big. So I'll just kind of assess as I go. So I'm all done. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in a bowl. I'm just gonna go ahead and do some black pepper and salt. Not gonna add any garlic powder, and just let whatever garlic powder is already in the bowl just get on the Brussels sprouts. And so now when it comes to the Brussels sprouts, I'm gonna be very intentional about making sure that this side, the flat side, is down, because I want them to get very crispy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so all the extra leaves, I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle on top. So there you go, that's everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with some avocado oil. All right, so that is all done. Gotta go ahead and pop this in the oven. My oven is still at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna pop this in for about 35 minutes and then check on it at that point. All right, so honestly, I'm pretty much done with all of my cooking. I still have my dessert to make, and I still have to make my tortillas. I just have them rising, but pretty much all done with cooking. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my ground beef away. And also I do have some bad news. So remember how I mentioned that my ground chicken had been in the freezer for a long time, so I was afraid I was gonna have freezer burn. So it does taste a little weird. I was kind of tasting it as I was cooking it. It has like a really weird texture. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my husband taste it to see if he likes it. If he does, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it away for him to eat throughout the week. If not, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and toss it. And then I did end up taking out some ground turkey, and I'm gonna make the ground turkey. And honestly, I'm not gonna even show that because it's literally the exact same process as my ground chicken. So as you guys just saw, I just finished packing my ground beef as well as the ground chicken. I had my husband taste it and he said he didn't mind it, so he's gonna be eating that throughout the week. Honestly, I feel like these are done. I'm gonna taste one, see what it tastes like. These are definitely cooked. So I'm gonna go ahead and let these cool down. Alright, there you have the veggies for the week. Alright, my loves, so it is quite some time later. Honestly, I feel like I've been cooking for hours because I have been cooking for hours, but I'm pretty much done. So I finished the ground turkey, so I'm literally about to put it in the container. All right, so there is my ground turkey. So I forgot to mention, I did end up finishing my flour tortillas. Let me go ahead and show you guys. They actually turned out better than I was expecting. So here they are. I started my rice, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut up my cilantro once the rice is done. So I am about to start prepping my dinner now, and then I'm probably gonna shower, and then we'll come back to make the cookies because I'm honestly like so sweaty and my feet are starting to hurt, so I just kind of want to sit down for while I eat my dinner. But yeah, I'm pretty much done with all my meal prep. I feel really good. Alright, my love, so it's been a couple hours since I last spoke to you guys. So I ate dinner. I didn't show you guys because honestly it's a recipe I've made before here on my channel. I will go ahead and link it above as well as in my description if you guys want to see my branzino recipe. And I showered, which is why I look a little different, but it's time to make these cookies. So I have the recipe right here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys everything that you're gonna need. So first you're gonna need some rolled oats. I have these are from Trader Joe's. Then you're also gonna need some walnuts. I think this is optional. If you don't want to add walnuts, you don't have to. I like nuts in my cookies and my chocolate, so I definitely wanted to go ahead and get some walnuts. You're also gonna need some cinnamon as well as some vanilla extract and some salt. And then you're gonna also need 2 ripe bananas, as well as the recipe calls for maple syrup, but I don't have any maple syrup, so I'm gonna be doing it with some honey. And then you're also gonna need some almond butter. The recipe also says that if you wanna put peanut butter, you can do that, but this almond butter had really good reviews on the Juka app. It was 100 out of 100, so it has really good ingredients. The ingredients is literally just organic, dry, roasted almonds, so love that. And then some chocolate chips if you want to add that. If you want to make it healthier, obviously opt out of the chocolate chips. But yeah, that's everything you're gonna need. So I'm gonna go ahead, start off with preheating my oven. I already have preheated to 350, and then you're gonna need 2 bowls. So I have 2 bowls right here. So in the first bowl, you're going to want to mash the bananas and then add your almond butter as well as the maple syrup and the vanilla, and then mix it. So let's go ahead and do that. These bananas should probably be more ripe, but it's fine. All right, banana number 1. All right, so I have my 2 bananas. I'm gonna go ahead and mash these up before I add anything else. All right. There you go. I don't want to mash it up too much because I don't know if they should be super mashed up or not. So I need to add my almond butter. So I know for almond butter it's 1/2 cup. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Putting in my 1/2 cup of almond butter. All right, and then my husband told me that we had maple syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and just use maple syrup. I need 3 tablespoons. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stir this mixture up. So now in your bigger bowl, you're going to want to, so in this bigger bowl, you're gonna add 2 cups of your rolled oats. 1, 2. Then you're gonna wanna add your salt. That's 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. All right, and then you're gonna want 1/3 cup of chopped walnuts. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab my walnuts and cut them up a bit. All right, there you have just over 1/3 cup, but that's okay. 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. Oh. And so now it says you want to combine your wet ingredients with your dry ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead and start dumping this in slowly. So I think this is the correct consistency. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this all up, add some parchment paper to my baking dish, and then we will line these cookies up. I read one of the comments, somebody has said that they don't flatten, so to flatten it yourself, so it doesn't really matter how far apart you put them, because they're not gonna really like go down and take up too much room. So that I made a total of 12 cookies. So like I mentioned, from what I read, the cookies don't flatten out, so she does suggest for you to flatten them so they're more of like a cookie shape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like lightly pat them. Alright, so here you have all the cookies. So you have to bake these for 12 to 15 minutes or until golden around the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in for 12 minutes, check them around 12 minutes and see if they're good, and then we'll be all done. Alright, cookies are all done. I took them out the oven about like 5 minutes ago because I wanted them to cool. So here we have them. It was hard to tell when they were like golden brown because like I mentioned, the almond butter that I used was already so dark, so it already gave it like a natural really dark golden brown look. But I'm gonna go ahead and try one. I'm already super full, so I feel like that's gonna alter how I feel about it, but hopefully it like blows me out of my mind. But I don't know, we'll see. All right, I'm gonna only eat half, and I'm gonna give the other half to my husband. And I'm gonna give the other half to my husband so he could try it, and then we could at least hear what he has to say. We're not gonna get him on camera, but let me go ahead and try it.
You know, she's sick.
Sorry about the lighting, guys. It's really late. It's like 10:30. But so I'm gonna be honest. They're not like a regular oatmeal cookie, right? This literally had no flour, no butter, no nothing. There's something about it. I think it's maybe the cinnamon that's giving it like a really interesting taste. It's actually not bad. I could see myself when I'm like really craving something sweet actually enjoying this, but like I mentioned, I'm really full right now, so it's not necessarily something that I'm like, oh my god, you guys absolutely have to try. But it's not terrible. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, these have to go in the trash immediately. I don't know if I'll be making this recipe again, but I'll definitely try to finish these cookies at least. Before I end out for the night, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys everything that I prepped for the day. So I have my white rice, as well as my cilantro rice. I have my homemade flour tortillas. Forget that Mission brand. Honestly, I'm gonna link the recipe that I followed down below because the Mission brand is not it. And then for my vegetables, I have my baby zucchini as well as my Brussels sprouts. And then I have my sweet potato as well as my Japanese sweet potato. And then I have my ground beef, ground chicken for my husband, and then ground turkey. And that is everything that I made today within like a couple hours. So this is literally everything. I am hoping that this helps with me not missing any meals and being able to stay on track, because especially when I come back from the gym, I'm like waiting hours to eat because I have to make something. So hopefully this really helps with that, and just being able to just whatever I'm craving, I could just take it out the fridge, heat it up, and then go about my business. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end out this video here. I hope this gave you some inspiration for some meal prep for you, or just for some healthy meals, or maybe it inspired you to get back on track on your fitness goals, or just eating healthy and anything like that. So if you stayed to the end of this video, I love you so much. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications so you get notified every single time I post a new video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.